Hello and welcome to this week's hobby stream. How are we all doing today? I have been excitedly building squigs because we painted up a kill rig that Games Workshop sent us last week, and I've fallen in love with the bee snaggers. I know you've been quite partial to them, haven't you, Jay?
Yeah, I remember what preview was it? We saw them. It was a while back now, wasn't it?
It all merges together, Jay. I'm not sure which one it was.
Yeah. But I remember first seeing them in the preview and thinking, oh yeah, they are fantastic orcs. And I do really like the Beast Snagger range. But then again, they've done a good job with refreshing like the regular orc boys and stuff as well, and the new war boss. So I think the whole range is really cool now.
Yeah, it's been really cool the stuff that they've done with them. But yeah, these squigs are so cool. So I've been building up some today as well, and the knob on Smash Your Squigs, amazing looking, and it can actually build like two different variants. One like this with the head down, and then another one with the head up and the guy with the pistol in his hand rather than the big choppy axe thing. So yeah, they're really cool. So I've got another 6 of them to build, because yeah, we're doing a bit of a purple sparkly unicorns not narrative, a 1,250 points tournament. Yeah, 1 day tournament, and then we're planning on getting tickets to the narrative crusade event at Warhammer World, which is 50 power. So yeah, I'm going to be going all in on that with squigs, I think. Jay, what are you painting today?
Yeah, well, in the same sort of theme, I'm also painting up an army to take to the Purple Spark Unicorns 1 day event, and to then take to Warhammer World in the Crusade. And I thought I had a bit more time to sort of get a head start on these guys. And then Games Workshop announced on Warhammer Community today that the Black Templars launch box is up for pre-order next weekend.
Yeah.
So I'm currently painting up some Assault Intercessors as Black Templars. This is going to be the first time I've really painted a black armor army.
Is it really?
Yeah, I think so. I didn't do Death Watch, and my armies are quite brightly coloured otherwise. I have tried playing around with black armor recently on the Dark Angels Horus Heresy figures, and I tried to go for like a dry brush sort of more realistic sort of lots of battle damage and dirt and things on the Dark Angels. And I do like them. They are nice, but I always struggle. Black armor is quite a hard armor to paint, I think. So I recently I painted up the Primarch for the Dark Angels. Almost finished. The actual Primarch himself finished, and I used Louise Sugden's off Warhammer Plus's masterclass, the black armor there technique, and I was really impressed with it, where they basically finish it off with that glaze of Pterodon turquoise, is it, for the contrast paint?
Yeah, it's really cool idea.
Yeah, it really ties the black armor together. Now, that masterclass, I think, is super for like centerpiece models and characters and things like that. But whether you could apply that technique to an entire army, you could, but it would take a long time to paint. So I'm going to try my best to sort of replicate it on these guys, but not worry so much about going into the amount of layers that on the masterclass. So maybe 1 or 2 highlights rather than, I can't remember now, 4 or 5 on the masterclass.
And then what? Pull out all the stops for the characters.
Yeah, that's it, and then go to town on the characters then. Although the characters arguably only one of them's wearing. Mind you, you've got Helbrecht in his gold armor, Grimaldus is in the black armor, the Sword Brothers and Emperor's Champion are wearing black armor, aren't they? So.
Awesome. Well, if you are painting along with us at home, let us know in the chat what you're up to. I see we've got Dasmore Wargaming over on Twitch, and Teldar UK Dave is watching on YouTube.
Oh yeah,
Dasmore
Dave just picked up a Void Dragon. That's what Dave will be painting.
He has. So sadly he wasn't able to join us on the stream today, but he has been working on the Void Dragon. I believe it's fully built, and he's planning on starting painting it tonight. I think it's sprayed up and good to go. So I'm excited to see what he does with that.
I think his plan is to take that to the tournaments as well.
Yeah. So Dave says, just finishing cooking tea, consume, and then settle down for some painting. We've got Anonymous Rex over on Twitch as well. Evening, how are you doing? What is everyone else painting? And equally, has anyone else picked up any orc stuff this weekend? It is Orktober after all. In fact, you know what? I should have named this stream Orktober, shouldn't I? Missed the boat on that one.
Yeah, never mind.
So yeah, but
I mean, I am technically painting up models that hunt orcs.
this
So,
is true. It is
in.
on brand. It is on brand. So I've had a fairly orky weekend. I built the Mozrog, is he called? The named guy on the kind of
The
Great White
Squig.
Squig. Such a cool model.
Yeah,
So
I do like that
I've
one.
built that up. I have also built the Pain Boss, which is the kind of medic-y guy with the little grot with a wheel for a leg. And I have built some of these squigs. Yeah, I've managed to get quite a lot done today. So
Nice one.
all with the plan of get this all built, get it sprayed up, and then then get them done for, when is it? First week of November, maybe, the event?
I want to say November 7th, but I could be wrong.
November 7th. That sounds about right.
Check the calendar. Yeah, Sunday, November 7th, I think it was.
Okay, so that gives us about a month then, doesn't it? That's not too bad. So the plan is I've sprayed up the characters. So this week, obviously building this on the stream today because I want to try and get these sprayed tomorrow if I can. But yeah, this week the plan is to get the characters painted. I want to try and set myself a target of getting something painted each week. So starting with the characters, and then probably these squigs. The squigs I've built so all of the kind of riders can be removed as well, because I just suspect that'll make them a bit easier to paint. I did the squig for the kill rig. In fact, let me get this kill rig out because I don't know if everybody watching has seen it. In fact, I don't know if you've seen it properly, Jay. Have you? Not in person.
I've seen pictures in
so
WhatsApp. That's it.
Oops, there is the glorious kill rig.
Just have to wait for me thing to catch up here.
It is such a nice model. Now, one bit of advice I would give is you absolutely need to build this thing in sub-assemblies. So I had the main kind of like body of the kill rig as one part. All the guns are separate, and what you can actually do is remove them and put it together as the hunter rig as well. We were just chatting before the stream, weren't we, Jay?
Yeah.
You can actually build it as that if you want to. I kept all the crew separate as well for painting it, just to make it easier. And obviously the squig at the front. So, pro tip as well. If you draw around where the feet and the wheels are going to be on the base, you can actually do the base as a sub-assembly as well and sand it and paint it separately. Just because if it's all stuck together, you're not getting a paintbrush underneath there. And then obviously you've just got kind of sandless areas to stick it straight onto. So yeah, I really like it. Now I'm not... I would take 2 of these to the 1,000 point event because technically you can do. But it's very, very good. And I want to have fun games rather than games that, you know, I don't like taking a super over the top list, so I'm restricting myself just to the 1 kill rig for the event, just because I think that'd be more fun to play against. We've got more people in the chat. Dasmore Wargaming is painting up Cruel Boys ready for my next Warhammer World trip for my birthday in December. Amazing.
Nice.
Pinot 1983, hey guys, just building some zombies ready for my first game with Soul Blight. Amazing. Mousebait, morning/afternoon/evening. How are you doing, Mousebait? Mousebait says a good idea. Break up your bits into easily paintable chunks. Yeah, and the same is going for these and a lot of the new orc stuff. The what's he called? The Beast Boss is currently in 6 pieces behind me. So I've got the main body, 1 arm, the other arm, the head, the little jaw piece that goes on, and something else. But yeah, that a lot of these new models, in the instructions, it calls out to have them in sub-assemblies as well. So I would heavily recommend taking that advice because otherwise it's going to be really difficult to paint them once they're built. And that's not a criticism. It's just something to be aware of when you're building it. You often do sub-assemblies as well, don't you, Jay?
Yeah, yeah. Like you say, it just especially on big models like that where there's a lot to look at. You want to make sure you get your paintbrush into all those bits of details and things like that.
Yeah, exactly. And that, I mean, the kill rig. When did I start it? I'm trying to think when I did it. Now I built it back when we got it from GW, and I think I started painting it after we came back from the tournament last weekend, which is why unfortunately we couldn't stream last weekend. But we were umming and ahhing about it. But by the time we drove back from Stockport, a bit knackered then, aren't we? So I just cracked on and started painting it, and then over the next couple of days just worked my way through the kill rig. I'm sure I could go back and add more detail, but I'm pretty happy with it. And I've written down that scheme because I'll probably use it for
the rest of the boys.
For the rest of the boys, yeah. It's pretty much copying the box art. And somebody messaged on Facebook saying, "Oh, why would you do the box art? It's a terrible scheme." I really like that scheme with the kind of
Well, I
like
mean,
mucky white and the weathering on it.
yeah, I mean, it's a subjective thing anyway, isn't it? Some people are going to like the scheme, some people aren't going to like the scheme. So that's why you did it, because you like it.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think as well, I do actually really like it as well. It reminds me a lot of like, for some reason, do you remember Quake Enemy Territory?
Quake Enemy Territory? No, I don't.
There's a Quake game, a bit like Wolfenstein Enemy Territory, but in the Quake universe, and you're fighting all the baddies, and they were a bit like cyborgs, really. And they had all like plate armor and things on, and that scheme and even the models themselves just remind me of that. I think it looks really nice, and because you're using like the white armor, it really lets you put that dirt on as well and battle damage. It shows up a lot better on the white armor, which is cool.
And I think that's why I liked it. When we saw the initial Beastnagger Boys, I think had that scheme, didn't they? And I was like, yeah, that really works for them. It's unusual white for a kind of orc army, isn't it? But it does work.
The Viola Tau use that sort of ceramic white type armor paneling as well. Of course, they're very crisp, clean, pristine sort of armor, but contrast against the Beast Snaggers. You've got like dirt splattered up and marks, and I mean, you could even, if you wanted to, add some gore on there, couldn't you? Look cool.
Yeah, you could. Yeah, the Beast Snaggers aren't too bothered about their armor being clean, if I'm perfectly honest. What's cool about this knob on Smasher Squig is that obviously this one I've built with the kind of studded head plate and is head down, but there's actually like two variants of it you can build, because you can take two of them as a single choice for each squad of oh, we have got a new follower, Dr. Octagon. Thank you for following. As you can take a couple of them per squad of Squig Hog Boyz. Obviously, you could get the situation where you've got quite a few of them in your army. So I quite like that they've thought about that and let you put them in a few different poses.
Yeah, you see that quite a lot now with Games Workshop models as well.
Yeah, really could do about 4 different variants, because obviously you've got head down, head up, 2 different head plates, 2 different weapon options. So yeah, even if you had 4 or 5 of them in there, you'll have a bit of variety. So that's cool. Mousepet says, good. Painting my terrain at the moment. Need to get to my kill team box. Ooh, have you painted the orc scenery yet out of kill team Mousepet? I know you're an orc fan. That scenery is so good. I need to get another set of it at some point. It does look really, really nice. And Dave is off to get food, and then we'll be back soon. And then cracking on his Void Dragon, hopefully, then as well.
Yeah, so this is coming to the tournament with him. I'm looking forward to fighting the Void Dragon. We've not seen him on the table yet. You never picked one up, did you, when you got your Necrons back in
No, I didn't. No, I didn't.
Launched?
You
got the Silent King instead, didn't you?
I got the Silent King instead because I preferred the Silent King model for like a big centerpiece thing. Yeah, but I know Dave was absolutely in love with the Void Dragon. And yeah,
I think he's got like the links to the Mechanicus, and I know Dave's a big fan of the Mechanicus stuff. So
yeah, I mean, I like the story stuff behind the Void Dragon. What's the book, Jay?
Mechanicus, isn't it?
It's literally called Mechanicus, isn't it? Yeah, about the Void Dragon imprisoned on Mars and the Guardian sent there to look after it. Yeah, it's a really good book. I had, Jay, a dispatch email as well yesterday for Warhawk.
Oh yeah, so I was looking for that. It's on Audible, isn't it? Now, was it next weekend? It comes out on Audible.
It's out now, so it should be available on Audible this moment.
Yeah, I looked for it earlier on. I couldn't see it, but I need to find that. And yeah, this time I can actually like listen to it with you while you're reading it.
Yeah, it's really weird, isn't it? I mean, it's a good thing. It's a good thing, but it's strange that kind of unannounced. It's like, yeah, the standard version and the limited edition's out the same weekend. I hope they do that for all the others, to be honest, because it's always a bit, I don't know.
Yeah, some people, especially when you get to like the end, where people are going to have read how the Siege of Terror ends, like 3 or 4 months before anyone else can pick it up.
It's going to be hard to avoid spoilers when, obviously, otherwise, after that last book, it could be, well, it was like 2 or 3 months, wasn't it, between the limited edition and the standard edition, and it could have been long spoilt by then. Now, I do believe with Warhawk, controversy, I think Amazon may have got some copies early and people have actually already read it and leaked
Yeah,
details
I think that's
online.
right. Yeah.
Now, whether that's contributed to them releasing them at the same time, I hope not,
Possibly,
though. I
yeah.
hope not. I hope it is just a general, we'll release them both at the same time because that's cool. Mouseplate says, I've set it aside, honestly. It's going to my Orc Terrain Kill Team board with a bunch of Necromunda, Speed Freak, Scratch built stuff. Yes, that sounds amazing. All that stuff should go together really, really well. If you are a fan of Scenery Mousebait, if you head over to our Twitter page, @SpruesandBrews, for the podcast this week, we want to know what your top 3 favourite pieces of scenery are. So, yeah, if you've got any favourites, share them on there. Steve Harbour on YouTube as well, saying, evening, gents. How are you doing, Steve? What are you working on tonight? Any fun hobby happening? I'm building orcs, because orcs are cool. And particularly, Squig Hog Boyz are cool. Yeah, I've got about 9 Squig Hog Boyz and 2 Smasher Squigs in an army I'm putting together for an upcoming tournament. And if I'm honest, I might look at the army list and see if I can squeeze in another 3 Squig Hog Boyz. I mean, so obviously we're limited to 2 data sheets, aren't we? 1,000 points. So I could get 2 units of 6 in that. That could work.
Well, I've got no idea what's going to be in my list, but I won't have long to find out.
Yeah, well, see, that's good. It's good, at least, because there was always the danger that it was going to be a close one between the book coming and the event, wasn't it? Where now at least you don't have to stress. In a week or 2, you'll have the army book so you can work out stuff, and like you're currently building some assault intercessors, so at least you can have foundation of the force built.
Yeah, well, I'm thinking they're definitely going to have some assault intercessors in the unit, in the army. I think we're going to get one of the gladiator tanks for some heavy firepower, so that'll be going in there as well. I may pick up a second Redemptor, so I've got 2 Redemptors, I'm not sure yet.
Okay.
And then, of course, I'll probably need to pick up some. I mean, we get the Marshal, don't we? The Emperor's Champion. So maybe in 1,000 points, that'll be okay for the 2 characters I need.
That's it, because it's unlikely the other stuff will have its separate releases by the time we go to this event.
No, exactly. So I'm wondering whether I need to paint up a chaplain as well to take, just as a Black Templars chaplain.
Oh yeah, that'd be cool. But yeah, it's kind of fun that we're all doing new projects for this tournament, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it's been a while since we've done something like that.
It is. It's. This is assuming that we get the tickets. They're on sale tomorrow at 6 or 7 o'clock. I forget.
In the evening.
Yeah, I need to double check that, because if we're not there refreshing, I believe they will go. So it's the Warhammer World Crusade event that we want to go to, and also we want to try and get tickets for the Age of Sigmar team event, because that sounds really, really cool. And basically you have a team of 4 players, each with different armies that have to be different factions essentially, and you can't share artifacts. Basically all your enhancements have to be unique across the entire force, which will add an interesting dynamic, because it means that only 1 army out of your 4 can have the ward save amulet, which I think should lead to some more interesting lists.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, when I'm playing with the Luminef, I don't tend to have much room for taking any of the universal stuff, so that means that you guys have got more selections.
Yeah. No, that's cool. Steve Harbour says it's a combination of Skaven and some Napoleonic cavalry for a big game a week on Saturday. That's pretty cool. I need to finish my Napoleonic stuff. It's just there's been so much stuff to build and paint and hobby with recently. Yeah. We've been thoroughly spoilt for toy soldiers, haven't we, recently? But yeah, I'm really enjoying building these squigs.
Okay, so now I'm going on to the chunky highlight stage, which is something I've never done before. Well, until I painted up the Primarch.
Chunky highlight. So that is the kind of Forge World way of doing stuff. Not Forge World, sorry, Heavy Metal way of doing stuff.
Yeah, this is how
highlight, and then thinner highlights, so you get the kind of a gradient in there.
Yeah. I do like painting Space Marines, though. I do like the fact that all the panels are quite well defined. So there's a lot of them, but I find it easy to sort of follow.
Yeah. I probably haven't painted as many Space Marines as you have.
No,
You've
I've
got a
painted
big
a lot.
Blood Angels army, haven't you? And you've painted a lot of Ultramarines over the years.
Yeah.
This foot is giving me some grief. Why is that not going in there? Yeah, I've got a model I need to paint up for my Wolf Spear, which is the White Dwarf Space Wolf successor.
Yeah.
He's primed. He's primed. He just needs painting. I'm going to follow the guide out of White Dwarf because I think that might be a fun one to do for my Imperium magazine models. That's the plan anyway. I know Dave's planning on doing the Tome Keepers, the White Dwarf faction as well. So yeah, it should be a nice little project. This is assuming we don't get distracted with other shinies though.
Yeah.
Which is always the danger. What I was going to chat to Dave about Armies on Parade today. So apparently, a little birdie tells me that Dave's planning on doing Armies on Parade this year with a Necromunda board.
Necromunda.
Which got me thinking, I could probably do a Necromunda Armies on Parade. I've got lots of models painted and I've got lots of Zone Mortalis painted.
Yeah.
So that might well be something that I do. All for the greater good of getting some stuff ready for a game. We're off to Warhammer World in December to have a big game, like a one-day kind of like Necromunda event. So really looking forward to doing that. But I need to get some more stuff painted up ready for it. I have been working on some Redemptionists. These have just got some very early kind of like base colours down on them, but they've kind of got sidetracked a little bit by all the squigs, but I'll be popping to them now and then. Quite happy with the red and the yellow. That's kind of some strong colours down for them.
Hot Wheels.
Hot Wheels, yeah, exactly. So obviously just need to block in all the other base colours and then start highlighting them up. But Necromunda is quite nice because you don't need to paint many models, do you? It's a nice little palette cleanser. I know you're a fan of kind of Infinity, which is a similar kind of system.
Yeah.
Kind of.
And each model's unique as well, which
makes
exactly. It you don't get bored with it.
Yeah. So yeah, looking forward to that. Mousebait says Skaven are awesome. Dave's also been working on some Skaven. I don't know how far he's got on them. I know he was on about doing those, and I think he's been updating his Stormcast as well.
Yes.
He was on about doing a new Stormhost.
Yeah, the silver ones, wasn't it?
Yeah, who I can't off the top of my head remember.
Hallowed
Knights. Hallowed Knights. That's it. So yeah, I'm really eager to play some games. What are you enjoying at the minute then, Jay? I know you've been excited to get back onto 40k again.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed the 40k games we played in the last month or so. I did enjoy the Age of Sigmar tournament, but on the Age of Sigmar side, I mean, I really want to pick up a dragon, obviously, to paint. But I'm not too fussed about starting a whole army of the Stormcast just yet. So yeah, it's really the Black Templars and the Horus Heresy stuff that I want to sort of get cracking on with now, ready for going towards the end of the year. And then next year, we start again. So I'm hoping next year we see some Craft World Eldar, so I can start painting some elves again. It'll be interesting to see what the next specialist games is in terms of Adeptus Titanicus, or what's coming next for Adeptus Titanicus as well.
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of interesting rumours for next year. Now, obviously, we've got no idea how genuine these are, but big Chaos Space Marine refresh, big Eldar refresh. There's even been word of squats, hasn't there? Which, madness, but that'd be really cool. We saw a rumour the other day about an upcoming Age of Sigmar battle box pitting the Gloomspite Git, and it looks like particularly the Spider Fang against Beastmen. Now, the Spider Fang didn't get any love when they had their most recent Gloomspite book, and remember we had the Scuttlers in Silver Tower.
Yeah, from Silver Tower.
And the rumour is that there'll be a single new model on the Gloomspite side, which will be a Scuttle Boss. So it wouldn't surprise me if it was a box of Spider Riders, an Arachnarok Spider, and this Scuttle Boss. That seems like a fair assortment for a battle box. And that the Beastmen side, it'd have lots of new models, which, to be fair, again, I think their range does need a bit of a refresh, doesn't it? Certainly for the kind of, Gors, Ungors, that kind of stuff. So if that is true, that would be really, really cool. I know your brother Lee has got a Spider Fang army, hasn't he?
He has a big Spider Fang army. Yeah, that's right, yeah.
And I've been meaning to do a Beastman army for ages, and really, one of the only things that's put me off is that the models are quite old, and I kind of expected them to get refreshed at some point. Yeah. So yeah, it's that'll be a good box if it's true. Obviously, there's also been rumours about a Custodes versus Gene Stealer Cult battle box, which again, both of us are interested in.
Yeah.
With a new character on each side. Now, I guess the downside to that suggests that if there are accompanying codexes, they might just have that single new model, which is a shame. But
like the Thousand Suns and Grey Knights.
Yeah, exactly. Unfortunately, not every release can be 6 new boxes and a load of cool stuff. But both of them have got fairly new ranges with decent models, so it's not the end of the world, is it? I see we've got Andy... Oh, sorry, go on.
No, carry on, Matt.
So we've got Andy Woods in the chat. New beasts, he's very excited. Mousebait would like more new spiders, to be honest. I've got a Squig Lanch or Squig Gloomspite, but would love spiders. So yeah, last wave, kind of, it was the Squigs and the Trolls that really got the love. So this is what they tend to do, isn't it? Focus on a sub-faction and get them up to date. Because it's a nice way of doing a kind of release wave then, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, the actual Gits themselves got a lot of love in the last codex, because you got the Gobberpalooza, you got the Sneaky Snufflers,
you did,
the Loom Bosses and whatnot.
Yeah, you fought a Squig army, didn't you, at the event last weekend?
Devil's Barking Nucons, yeah, man. What was it? 4 Mangler Squigs. They are fast, but they're so random. So although they managed to get into my Lumineth quite early on, the damage just was so random that I was able to survive the attacks. But
yeah,
it's a nice looking army, and I really like the sort of theme of Squigs.
Squigs are cool. Squigs are cool. I mean, that's what I'm building Squigs now, aren't I?
Yeah.
And if I have to play with the list, but if I could, I think I'd run out of points because obviously you're limited by the number of duplicate War Scrolls you can take, and I don't think I'd have enough to be able to do a pure Squig army. But that's not the end of the world. The Beast Snagger Boys are cool as well, so a couple of units of them to do like objective work while the Squigs go kind of kamikazing around the table. I'm quite looking forward to that. Alright, what head have we got on this one? It's head number 88. Basically making sure each of these Squigs are different. Unfortunately for the kind of like cavalry ones, the little ones, there is only really one way you can build them. So if you've got 6 of them, you are going to have like duplicate models in each unit. But again, I really like the dynamic new models. Back in the day, we had a lot of kind of like arms that just connected flat, and they didn't always look the greatest. It's kind of a balance, isn't there, between having like super modular one that you can build in different ways, or an awesome cinematic looking model, but you can only really build it in one way. Now, obviously, there's a lot of spare parts from these kits, so we might be able to do some cutting and kit bashing to get some different looking Squigs, but if I'm honest, I'm just going to build him. They'll look fine. Mousebait quite rightly says, if your Squigs aren't kamikazing around the table, are you even playing Squigs? This is true. The only thing I'm missing really is some Squig dice to go with them.
I remember the Squig dice.
Squig dice. Did you get a pack?
No, I don't think I did. I'll have to double check upstairs.
Is where you've got some secret Squig dice squirreled away. I mean, they were the most like unusable dice in the world, weren't they?
Yeah, they were rubbish for actual gaming with.
But I guess if you've got Squig dice, you haven't got them for gaming, have you?
No, that's it.
Right. So again, this guy, is removable from the Squig. So what we'll do is stick him to the base, and then we'll start building up the rest of him. This isn't a bad kit to build really. They're pretty straightforward. Again, which is another advantage of the fact that there's not that much modularity to them. And I'll actually have enough spare parts to build a third Knob on Smasher Squig, but at the minute he's not on my list. I do need to get on that though. Massplay says, "Oh yes, I have some. Not ever used them. They're very Squig-like." Andy Wood says, "Yep, they bounce a lot, just like a Squig."
Yeah.
Right, what have we got here? We need to put his arm on and his shoulder guard. And to be fair, we've nearly done this guy then. So, yeah, they're not too how long are we into the stream? We are about half an hour in. So that's not bad going. Half an hour per Squig. I'll take that. There's definitely models I've built that have taken a lot longer than that. So what are you thinking for the, assuming that we get tickets for the team event, are you going to be using a similar list to the one that you took last weekend, Jay?
Yeah, I think I probably will. So the ideas in my head that I was thinking I might change round is I might try. I was contemplating dropping Techless and maybe taking some ballistas and things and another mountain spirit, just generic mountain spirit. So obviously Techless adds a lot to the army in terms of those, those almost guaranteeing the casts go off, and the protection of Techless is very good. And if people are going to be taking giants and dragons and mortal wounds coming all over the shop, then that might be pretty good. But then I was thinking, well, I could potentially get another of those cow spirit, mountain spirits in, and then if I take the Kaffler. And the twins. The twins are like a mini Techless, so they get 2 spells off. You get the +1 to cast still near the shrine, and they have access to a protection of Techless type spell, although they only cast it on themselves. But they could also cast protection of Hish, so at least 2 units are getting the 5+ ward save. And if I position my units well, that shouldn't be a problem. So I don't know yet. Definitely taking Lumineth though.
Okay, cool. Well, see, I'm torn. What I take very much depends on what Dave's taking. I think Dave's taking Stormcast. I just worry that Dave won't get a Stormcast army painted between now and it's just about 5 or 6 weeks.
Yeah.
So if he isn't bringing Stormcast, I'll be bringing my Hammers of Sigmar. Pretty much the list that I used on the stream a couple of weeks ago with a couple of tweaks. So, yeah, I'm pretty happy with them. Or I'll be taking Archaon and Varangard.
Yes.
That's a strong list. I probably won't be taking the Dragon. He's more of a kind of Throne of Skulls level kind of guy, personally.
Yeah.
So yeah, the other option, of course, is take a shooty Cruel Boys army. So you can have an awful lot of bolt boys. You have some of the big man-skewer bolts. I'd probably stick Kragnos in there and the new named Shaman to turn off people's ward saves. And I think that'd be really, really good. Turn off ward saves and then just unleash with a load of bolts.
Yeah.
I think that'd be a very, very strong list. But again, that involves getting a Cruel Boys army built and painted in like 6 weeks or something. So that ain't gonna happen. And Andy Wood just said, I think lists have to be in 2 weeks before, so I'll double check. Yeah, so basically I've got Archaon and Varangard painted, so that's probably going to be my default one. If Dave's using the Uruks, I'll probably bring the Stormcast. Again, I can knock that together pretty easily. I don't know what Andy's bringing. Andy, I believe, what are you thinking? Giants or Suns or Bone Reapers?
Bone Reapers?
Bone Reapers could be good. So one of the fun things with this is the fact that you can't take the same faction. It can be all different Grand Alliances, which is cool. But say if Dave is wanting to bring a Stormcast army, I couldn't bring a Stormcast army. So I think you've got to think across the team as well. What's going to work for different armies that you're facing?
Yeah.
So I think Archeon might be a good one to counter some of the things that maybe the Lumineth aren't so good against.
Yes.
So yeah, we'll do that. And then if Dave's bringing either Uryx or Stormcast, they can deal with hordes and lots of models, and then giants can stomp around, or Bone Reapers. Yeah, I think between us, whatever we build, it should be a laugh. We'll certainly have fun anyway.
It'll be good to play some more 3rd edition. I really enjoyed the match play games we played last weekend.
Yeah. Oh, Andy says either Giants or Bone Reapers, or maybe Nurgle.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that could be cool. Yeah, no, I really enjoyed it too, especially after playing the tournament. I mean, tournaments are very tiring, aren't they?
Yeah.
It takes a lot out of you mentally, but it was really, really fun. And I really enjoyed Element Games. So, despite Element Games being one of our sponsors,
Yeah.
we've never actually been up there. And I was pleasantly surprised by the gaming centre. It was really good, to the point where I'm thinking we really should do a Sprues and Brews tournament at Element Games at some point.
Yeah.
It's not far away. It was like an hour to drive, wasn't it? Parking.
Yeah, it was really, really easy to get to.
Yeah, parking, if you got there early, it was okay. I think if you turned up later, you might struggle. But there's like a Beefeater just down the road and a Premier Inn, and yeah, it seemed pretty decent. So yeah, thumbs up for playing at Element Games. Mousepate says, "Oh, that sounds like fun. Do they have to be allied or whatever you call it? I've not played, so no. They can be 4 complete. As long as they're 4 different factions, you can take whatever you like. You don't need to be like locked into a certain faction. You could, decide to each take something from a different Grand Alliance, or each take something from within the same Grand Alliance. The only stipulation is that the army factions have to be different, and you can't share any enhancements across them. So yeah, I think that'd be cool. Andy has checked the tournament pack, and they have to be submitted by Friday the 12th.
Okay.
So that's good. We can, me and you can probably get a list together tonight, Jay, if we're honest,
Yeah.
can't we?
Yeah.
So I think it's just Dave deciding whether he takes his Uryx, which, to be fair, are really, really good. I think he was really
plus
keen.
He knows how to play him as well.
Yeah, I think he was really keen to try out the Stormcast. I just don't realistically think he'll get an army done by then, because he's going to repaint his Celestial Vindicators as the Silver Faction. I've already forgotten what they're called.
Hallowed Knights.
Hallowed Knights, that's the one. Vulnerable Gamer 4, good evening, gents. How are you doing? What are you painting today? Are you doing any hobby yourself? I'm building some Squig Hog Boyz, and Jay is painting up some Black Templars. Just before we went live, Jay was telling me that he was running out of black paint, which is a really bad thing to run out of when you're painting something that's predominantly black. Yes. Mousepate wants to visit Element Games. Mousepate, am I right in thinking you're based in Australia? Or have I just imagined that? Anonymous Rex, how's it going? I'm working on painting my first custom terrain piece. I built with XPS foam, surprised at how nice it looks. Just got some dry brushing left to do. Amazing. I am a big fan of terrain, whether homemade or bought. Yeah, let us know what it looks like. Send us some pictures, that'd be cool.
What system's the terrain for?
Yeah, what system is the terrain for? Let us know. We are doing a bit of a terrain top 3 on the podcast tomorrow. We haven't even got a main segment for tomorrow's podcast, because it's been a funny one, hasn't it? With Aeronautica up for pre-order this weekend, which we haven't reviewed. So what we'll probably do is talk about maybe if we get by then we'll know if we're going to the tournament. So we'll probably talk about what we're taking to the tournament and what might work well together. So I think that might be the main section of the podcast tomorrow. Vulnerable Gamer 4 is painting the Star Blood Stalkers. I'm a bit behind the curve. So they're really nice. I haven't got to hand, and I've just nearly knocked over my tripod. Yeah, they're really cool models. I really enjoy painting my ones. They kind of made me want to paint a Seraphon army, but again, similar to the Beastmen, I can't bring myself to paint any of those old Saurus warriors. I'm sorry. As much as you've got really nice
Skinks,
Lord Croak and the Skinks and the Bastillodons and all that stuff, it's the old Saurus warriors and the Saurus cavalry that really let let the side down, which is a shame because a lot of the range is really, really good. It's just that you are going to be having some of those older kits in there, and I don't think they look very good.
No.
Now, what you could probably do, it'd be a bit expensive, is use the Blood Bowl team as a base for them.
Yeah, potentially.
But you're then spending a lot on Blood Bowl teams to convert up your basic infantry, aren't you?
And you can guarantee that they'll eventually down the line release the new Saurus Warriors.
Yeah, exactly. So hence no Seraphon for me. FL Logan says hello. Oh, sorry, FG Logan says hello. What are you painting? Are you a newbie to the stream? I don't recall the name. If so, hello. We do a, hopefully from now on, fairly regular weekly stream. Last week we couldn't stream because we were at an event, but we are back in business today. Talking Warhammer and doing some hobby. Mousebait says no in the US. Might as well be Australia though. I don't know. For some reason I thought you were in Australia, Mousebait. Sorry. She also added her notes for the terrain thread. Amazing. Anonymous Rex was going for AOS as it's a test piece. It's more for pictures and gameplay. Oh, you're using it as a nice kind of like backdrop for taking miniature shots against. That's a really cool
nice
idea.
Yeah.
I normally cheat and just prop up. I've behind, you might be able to see, I've got this mat, so I normally put a box kind of in it to make a bit of a mountain, and then that'll act as a backdrop for the pictures. Because I need a new light tent because my current one's knackered, so I've been doing that for the time being. What do you tend to? You tend to just take your pictures au naturel, don't you, Jay?
Yeah, next year my intention is to set up a proper area like you've got for taking pictures, because at the moment, like you say, I don't really do anything special with them, and I think like the pictures you take look really good.
I mean, really. So there's not a majority of the ones that I take aren't in a light tent. There's nothing special. It's just a bit of paper propped up. If I've got a bit of paper, which I probably have, let's try this. Oh, there is some paper there. Cool. So you can see the desk there. What I normally do is just get something like that, a bottle, prop it up there. So it's nothing fancy. Whack the model on, move the light over it, take a picture. And then you've got a nice backdrop. It doesn't look, you've got no shadows or anything, it just works really well.
Yeah.
So that's my pro tip for a dead, quick and easy backdrop for your photographs. It is easy with one of these nice lights though. I do recommend one of them. I think it's about 90 quid, but it's a really nice one. Daylight is the company. If you just stick Daylight lamp into Amazon, you should be able to find them. So, FG Logan is painting Blackstone Fortress, I believe. Been listening to all your podcasts. Only this is the second time I've watched your stream. Amazing. Well, thank you for joining us. Hope you're enjoying it. Thanks for listening to the podcast as well.
Yeah.
It's unreal how many podcasts we've done now.
What we must be like 150 something, 160.
157, I want to say. I haven't got my handy notebook behind me. I think we're on 157. I think this
over
week.
3 years of podcast.
That's craziness, isn't it?
Yeah.
Time flies when you're having fun, and it still kind of feels like, even though we've got like an international audience at the minute on here, it still kind of feels like it's just us chatting in your garage.
It does, yeah.
Isn't it? It's weird. I mean, we haven't done a podcast in person for a long time.
No,
obviously, when the pandemic hit, we had to stop recording in person, and we kind of hastily at the last minute. Dave's kind of the audio wizard who does all the kind of editing and filming of the podcast, and he suggested using Skype. And to be fair, we have tried other more professional things, and Skype just works, doesn't it? Basically,
Skype gets the job done.
It does. Which coincidentally is how you're with us here today, Jay. It's, you have all the high-tech solutions and expensive software, but sometimes you can just use Skype and it will be okay. So yeah. So Mousebait says nice to catch him live. Venerable Gamer, interesting thoughts about the Seraphon. Who doesn't love dinosaurs? But think I'll wait for a bit. Yeah, well, what's nice about the Underworld teams is that the nice little palette cleansers, I like to call them, for seeing if you get on and enjoy a project. Because it could be that you have a go and actually you don't enjoy painting them without having to commit to a full army, or you just fancy painting something different, which is not necessarily a bad thing, is it? Andy Wood says, I bought a small photo booth off Amazon for like 18 quid. Mousebot says, I don't know, my pits never come out as well. FG Logan says, last stream I watched, there was mention of a Discord. So I don't think we committed to a Discord. It was like we'll look into that. If it's something people want to do, I'll certainly set it up. But I've got a Sprues and Brews Discord account. So if that is, he's come off his base. If that is something that people would be interested in taking part with, we'll happily chat with you guys over Discord. So yeah, let us know if it is something that you'd be interested in. Andy Woods confirms 156 episodes.
Ooh.
It's good that Andy's here to let us know these things. Mouse Bait says they wish they had space for a light tent. And FG Logan says Apple started off in a garage. This is true. This is true. I'm not sure where the Apple of the wargaming world.
No.
We're more the kind of bargain bin, low budget one. But you know, you guys seem to enjoy it.
Albert.
So.
Is Albert one? I used to have an Albert stereo.
Yeah. And Mouse says, so did GW's record? Yeah, so we were lucky enough to interview Ian Livingstone at the UK Games Expo a couple of years ago, and he was saying that when they were setting up Games Workshop, they literally slept in their car.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, it's been really cool. I've really enjoyed doing the Sprues and Brews stuff. It always started. It was basically me and Dave were doing a kind of video gaming website, Blast Process. I say we were doing it. It was mostly Dave and some of our mutual friends who did it, and I kind of gate crashed and did silly app reviews with Mike, who we really need to play Warhammer with Mike as well because I've not seen him for years. And yeah, we did silly kind of like app reviews, kind of spoof horror movie stuff, just lots of silly videos. And we were thinking, wouldn't it be cool to do that kind of stuff but for Warhammer? And yeah, we put together our first little YouTube video, Sprues and Brews News, where we covered the news of the week. The only downside is that stuff ages really, really quickly on YouTube, so there isn't really, an appetite for a news video, because by the time you've edited and uploaded it, it's old news already. So we did some unboxings and kind of Battletome reviews and the kind of usual stuff that you'd expect. And then put together the website, and it just kind of grew from there. And then eventually at some point we did the podcast because we thought that's a much better format for a news show rather than me and Dave talking at a camera. And then it just went from there, and somehow people really like the site. So yeah, thank you very much for popping by and watching and listening and taking part. And we've never done like a Patreon or anything like that because we want everyone to be able to enjoy all the content for free. So yeah. At the end of the day,
it's not a job for us, is it?
This is it. A lot of websites will do their kind of their Warhammer videos and podcast and website as kind of their day job. We just kind of do it as a hobby. So yeah, I'm really glad that people are enjoying it, and we will do as much as we physically can. Immortan Joe says, "Good evening, everyone. How are you doing, Immortan Joe? What are you working on tonight?" I'm waiting for this squig to stick to its base because it's had a bit of an issue sticking on it. So I just give it a couple of minutes just so it bounds kind of there properly. And then we're nearly done on him. I just need to stick the exhaust and throttle, because I love that this guy's got a little throttle thing that sticks there, so the driver can control it. and then they've got
That's crazy.
the arm to stick on it, and then he's done. And then that's the kind of bigger of the 4 models in the box. I say five models in the box if you include the bomb squig.
Is there a lot of lore in the codex about the beast snaggers then? Because they're like new, aren't they? New factions.
Yeah, so a lot of the love for new stuff was on the beast snaggers and the snake bites. So they got, where the others maybe got like half a page, they got a full kind of double page spread about them, which is cool. Some really nice stuff in the chat here. Grace here says, I think the Sprues and Brews podcast is one of the best. Good production value. It has a structure. It isn't a 4-hour ramble. It is regular and friendly. Keep it up. Thank you. We do go off topic occasionally, but we do try and keep it some kind of structure, don't we? And then Mousebit says, to be honest, reading your site is so much better for finding information than Warhammer. Warhammers? It's so hard to flip and search their... Oh yeah, it's got Games Workshop's official site. So hard to flip and search their site properly. Yeah, again, for layout of the site and stuff, again, thanks goes to Dave, because he really looks after that side. I'm just the monkey who edits the videos, which is really fun. I kind of want us to do, time allowing, a proper filmed cinematic battle report. I think the favourite one that we did, Jay, was the... was it Sylvaneth you were using against my Slanesh?
Yeah.
And that was, it took us flipping ages to film it, and about this is having issues. About 2 days to edit it.
Yes,
but
it did.
I really liked how it turned out.
We had Dave filming that one while we were battling, weren't we? So
we did, which was easier.
Effort. Yeah. Although I am liking the live ones we do on the Saturday now.
Yeah, I mean, there's pros and cons to both of them, isn't there? Obviously, the camera work is a lot better on the filmed ones, but you've got to film everything. And spoilers, but an average 1,000-point game could take us like 4 to 6 hours to film, because you want to kind of behind the curtain. We'll talk about what we're going to be doing. We'll work out where the best shot's going to be. We won't like fake the results. Yeah, we'll play it naturally, but we'll let the other person know what we're going to do to give them time to think about it, because obviously if you were doing live, that kind of discussion would be happening around it. So let's say if you were going to do a charge, I'd be thinking about what I'm going to do next. It just gives them a bit more time to do it when we get to that part in the filming, just so we're not stopping and starting the camera every 5 minutes, because that would be an absolute nightmare. And then it's kind of like important to make sure that we've got kind of balanced forces, and it's fun and it all works. One that we did try was a Titan battle between a Warhammer Titan and a...
I remember that one.
Revenant, was it, or a Phantom?
Eldar Revenant, yeah.
Revenant. And we'd planned on this going for at least a couple of turns. Not turn one, the Warhound shoots and destroys the Phantom. Revenant, sorry. So we decided to re-rack and try it again. And I don't think we got much further with the Eldar going turn one, did we?
Yeah, let the Eldar go turn one so they can move and get their hollow fields up.
And then got shot by the Warhound. Yeah. So, yeah, I think that's the only one that's been a real disaster. But, yeah, I have enjoyed doing the live ones, because we've got the advantage of being able to chat to you guys on here as well. And that adds another level of interaction. And I think we've quickly realised, obviously we're not like, a lot of tabletop tactics, honest wargamer, a lot of people like that do kind of like proper pro tournament play Warhammer, super serious, where our niche, I think, really is your more narrative stuff, so Crusade, Path to Glory, that kind of stuff. That's not to say that we don't do proper match play games, but I think the way we play kind of fits better with the narrative stuff, so that's what we focus on. So Morton Juice says, tonight, Matthew, I'm Gary Newman. No, wait, wrong show. I'm going to build some Sylvaneth for Dungeons and Dragons. Ace. Mousebait says, I bet it does. Battle reports are tough. I take some pics and notes during my games with my sons, but I tend to give up after turn 2. And then, lol, poor Revenant. It was a poor Revenant. Yeah, the Revenant didn't have a good day, did he? Bless him.
I've got a Revenant upstairs in pieces, actually, that I want to put together as a Imlock one, a grey, orange and black.
Is that a different Revenant?
Yeah, it's another Revenant. It's a second-hand Revenant. That it's a salvage exercise, so it's all in pieces. Bits of it have been painted, bits of it haven't been painted. So my plan is to strip it all down, take it apart, get rid of all the glue, and put it back together again as a Imlock.
That sounds a really cool project.
I picked up very, 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 very cheap. It's an official Forge World one, but it cost me like, I think it was like less than £20 because it's in a state. Yeah, it's in an. It's like got a really bad paint job on it. It's come in pieces, so like bits like the legs are glued together in a certain pose, but they're in pieces, not attached. So it's a proper salvage job. But I thought, for £20. It was a while back I bought it now, and the idea was to completely like break it apart, get rid of all the glue off it, all the paint off it, and put it back together again.
This sounds like content, Jay. Out there in Chatland, would you like to see a mini video or series covering Jay repairing a knackered Eldar Titan? Because I know I would.
Yeah, well, I'm sort of in that sort of frame of mind at the moment as well, because I've been working on my Battlefleet Gothic.
That segues quite nicely. Have you got them to hand, Jay? I'll whack them on the camera.
I'm going to get them.
So I'll kill some dead air while Jay's collecting some Battlefleet Gothic models. But yeah, Jay recently had a bit of a Battlefleet Gothic kick, and he wanted to play some games. And he had an old Eldar fleet that he wanted to give some love, paint up, and do him in like a more modern colour scheme. I think Imlock to match his Craft World Eldar, and he has been stripping them, and they have come up like a treat. So yeah, he should be back shortly to show you what they look like. Lot of love in the chat for a bit of a project. Smoothly done, Jay.
So I've got a lot of these. I think I've got about. I'll just try and get them in the right place so you can see them. I've got about.
Switch to your camera, Jay. 2 secs.
I've got about.
Pull them back a little bit towards the edge. There you go.
This way.
Yeah, a little bit more right towards the edge. The camera, for some reason, focused way back. Yeah, they're looking really cool.
So I've got a lot of Craft World Eldar. And I bought these over 20 years ago, something like that, before I met Amy, my partner, I'm sure. And over the years, they've had, when I stripped them using Dettol and took them all to pieces to get rid of all the old glue as well. And they had about 4 or 5 paint jobs on them. So obviously when we first got into the hobby, I wasn't as careful with my painting. And then when I decided I wanted to do a different colour scheme, I'd paint over the top of that colour scheme. So all the detail had gone on them pretty much. And yeah, they were originally purple, then they were blue, then they were red, and then they were black with like an awful colour scheme on them. So yeah, over the last few weeks, I've sort of taken them all apart, used Dettol to get rid of all the paint on them, and then I've put them this weekend. I've put them all back together again. So, like I say, this is just a small selection of them here. I've put these ones back on their flight stands.
I mean, they look like Jay.
Yeah, they do. They look really good. This is the big. So this is the Voidstalker. This is the Corsair Eldar battleship, and this was my favourite ship. I used to love this thing, but it is missing some pulse lasers at the front here, and these have long gone. So I need to. They almost look like little star cannons or something. So I'm going to use a bit of green stuff, I think, to try and build them back. Before I put some paint on this one. But the idea is that these are going to be in the same colour scheme as my Craft World Eldar map.
Yeah, nice. Grey and orange,
so yeah,
Imlock. That's
it, yeah. So they've come out really cool. And like I say, I've got lots of... I think I've got about... I've got 2 cruisers, 1 battleship, and probably about 18 or so of the escorts of different varieties. So this is a Nightshade, these are Aconites, that's a Hellbore or a Hemlock, and that's either the Hemlock or the Hellbore. This one was good. This was always one of my favourites. This was basically in the Battlefleet Gothic rulebook. They did really cool bits of like background and lore for each of the different ships. It was really cool reading about the Imperial ships and the Chaos ships that turned traitor. But the Eldar ones were very good as well. And this thing here was basically amounts to a pair of engines and a laser gun. And there's only like 2 crew members on it, so they can't do any boarding actions. It's basically just a flying gun. Whereas this one here had like weaponry to rival like the smaller cruisers of the Imperium on an escort's chassis. And then I've also got, but these ones are proving a bit more difficult to restore. So these are I bought these secondhand years ago as well. So these are Forge World made some light cruisers for the Eldar out of resin. So you have, I can't remember which way around they are. I think that's the Aurora, and these are the Solaris cruisers. So these had, I bought these secondhand years back on eBay, and these had like a blue color scheme. The Dettol, I did a test on it because wasn't sure how the resin would react with the Dettol, but it's fine. It's not damaged the resin at all. But the blue paint has been a lot trickier to get off the resin. So I've got it to a point here where I can now see all the detail and things on it. So I think I'm going to spray these black. I don't think I'm going to take these any further. These have had about 3 or 4 soaks in Dettol with 3 or 4 scrubs on them. I think this is the cleanest I'm going to be able to get these guys.
Do you fancy me hitting it with some Vallejo surface primer through the airbrush? It might be finer than using the spray can,
that's
maybe.
a good shout. Yeah, I could give that a try. Yeah. So these are so the only thing I'm really missing for the Eldar, I've got every single Craftwork Corsair Eldar vessel. It's the old Corsair Eldar space station. If I ever see one of those on eBay, I think I'll pick that up. So obviously I'm not rushing with these things. I took my time trying to clean them all up, so I'm really happy with how they've turned out. So I'll be hopefully these will be battle ready for if the Eldar receive some reinforcements next year. It'll be quite timely then.
Yeah, no, that looks really cool. I love Battlefleet Gothic. I sold my fleet ages ago, but they did go for a fair few pennies, so
Yeah,
swings and roundabouts, isn't it?
they do hold their value.
So the chat has been very, very excited about you doing a salvage video, Jay.
Oh right, okay then. Right,
Lots of love for that.
Let me get these Black Templars out of the way, ready for these tournaments that are coming, these events that are coming up in a month or two's time, and then I will get cracking on the Eldar Revenant. Might be a good one to do over December, Christmas time period as well. Actually,
Grace here has said a 12 days project at Christmas, maybe.
Yeah, good thinking. Okay, yeah,
we could do that. Oh, sorry, go on.
I might dig it out of the box upstairs then, and just have a look and make sure that it's a doable project over 12 days. If I have to do any pre-work on it, I'll get that done on it. But yeah, I mean, it needs stripping. There's like old glue on it and all sorts. I mean, the person who put it together didn't do a very good job of putting it together.
Yeah, no, that'd be really fun. We'll do it as a mini video series. It'd be cool.
Yeah, you're not allowed to blow up with a Warhound in one turn, then, right?
No. Though we do. Then again, in the new edition, might go differently. You never know.
I've not checked the rules in 9th.
Though we absolutely do need to do a game with it if you do manage to to fix it up. No, that sounds really cool. Mouseplate says I'd be pretty happy if they brought Battlefleet back, and has suggested using some tubing for your missing guns and stuff.
Yeah, it's literally just on that battleship. It's the missing it looks like it's got like a smiley face, like eyes on it with all the lasers. So definitely, but there's also that one and also this one as well. Here, there's supposed to be a pulse laser coming out the top of the Eclipse, which was my favorite cruiser. I love the Eclipse. It's pretty much got everything. It's got a launch bay, batteries, pulse laser. I think the only thing it hasn't got is the Eldar torpedoes. But and the good thing about the Eldar ships was like you can angle them towards the sun, get them straight up to the enemy cruisers, enemy battleships, launch all your ordnance and weaponry at point blank range, and then turn around and fly off.
Oh, I forgot their speed was based on facing in relation to the sun because they have like solar sails, don't they?
Yeah, and they also move in the ordnance phase as well.
Of course they do. Oh, Eldar.
They weren't as bad as Necrons. Necrons were like terrifying, and the Necrons as well. They basically, obviously, the Eldar had the hollow fields, so they negated a lot of damage that came into them with the hollow fields. Necrons just ignored hollow fields, if I remember rightly, and Necrons could like zip across the board like no man's business.
Fair enough.
But then you'd expect that. I remember reading the background for when the Necron fleet first come out, and there was like the tomb ship, which was like they could never kill the tomb ship. Whenever the tomb ship showed up, the Imperium were just doomed. And then there were 3 or 4 or 6, was it, of the I think they were called the Dirge class, were the ones that broke through the Martian defenses and landed on Mars.
Ah, yeah. Huh. No, Battlefleet was cool. Mouseput saying, interesting, I thought Dettol would kill it. It could be that the paint is a lacquer paint. Maybe.
Yeah, it might. it might have been some other kind of paint. Yeah. I mean, you can sort of see that I got through to the resin on bits of it, and I just don't know whether it was absorbed by some of the resin or I'm not sure. But yeah, the other ships, they took 2 soaks and 2 scrubs to come out nicely, but the resin. But I've given up on the resin now. I'm going to keep it as that.
And like you say, you don't want to push it too hard because it could start eating into the resin itself.
Exactly.
You
Yeah.
don't want that, do you? Grace says, I can recommend a certain branded paint stripping goop which I've successfully used on plastic and metal paint jobs that are 30 years old. Just tell us what the brand is. Don't worry about that. Whack it in the chat. No worries. Mouse bait. As long as your paint isn't streaked, got fingerprints or bad spots, you can just paint over the blue and just be fine. Yeah, I reckon you should be all right, Jay.
Yeah, and I mean these are, I'm not going for a super detailed paint job on these things. I want them to look good on the table, so I'm not too fussed if some of the detail I can't get to, but they look okay. I think they're going to be okay to paint, to be fair.
Awesome. Immortan Joe asks, would you consider doing a multi-part narrative covering multiple game systems with the same force? For example, Battlefleet Gothic, Titanicus, Aeronautica, 40k, Kill Team. Yeah, that sounds amazing.
It would be cool.
So yeah, I think the new Kill Team lends itself quite nicely to that as well, where you could have that unit as a unit in your 40k army, but then send it down for like special ops, which was actually something we were thinking about doing to tie Kill Team in. Getting all the other stuff in there as well is the dream. I mean, Epic 40k, if it came back, it'd be ace to do your massive like planetary war based stuff.
Yeah.
Because Apocalypse, as cool as Apocalypse is, the difference with Epic 40k is you could have 5 Titans on each side and a load of infantry and a load of planes. Unfortunately, it's not.
Apocalypse just felt a bit crowded, didn't it?
Yeah, it is, which is a shame. Especially on like I mean, if you've got a massive board to do it on, then yeah, it's brilliant. But on like a normal sized board, you're going to struggle. I'm trying to work out how this fits on the back of here. Did it go that way around? Look at that, maybe. Yes, that goes behind there. Cool. Mousebait says, what were the orcs like for Battlefleet Gothic? If they were in the game, basically boulders chucked about randomly. Yeah, essentially they were, they were Space Hawks, weren't they? It was a massive rock with guns strapped to it that aggressively kind of drove into things.
My brother's got an amazing orc fleet, all the original metal orc fleet. His is all painted. And they've got some amazing ships, so like the Death Dealer and Onslaught attack ships and Brute Ram ships. So typical orcs, they have all their guns sort of pointing forward, and they used to have some cool all-ahead full rules and ramming rules. They used to get a lot of shots, but I don't think the gunnery tables were very good. And like they did used to have like the rocks and the hulks as well. But their ships were like just ramshackle sort of armor plates bolted all over the place. There's lots of Battlefleet Gothic resources online, so you can sort of download all the old rule books and things like that, and they've got really cool diagrams and pictures of all the different ships in there. There's actually a lot of rules and expansions and fleets and ways of playing Battlefleet Gothic. I mean, it's crazy to think that it hasn't been looked at again yet by Games Workshop, really.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's probably on their to-do list. I mean, if they had the resources, I guess they'd want to put out most systems, wouldn't they, if they could?
Yeah.
It's just having enough resources to be able to do all that.
But I don't know. I'd argue that it would be more popular than Adeptus Titanicus.
I think you're right. I think it'd be super popular because I know a load of people who thoroughly enjoy Battlefleet Gothic. Yeah, it's
been a while since I've played. Me and my brother, we played a lot back in the day, and we picked up Dropfleet Commander, which was Andy Chambers, I believe.
Yeah, it's like a spiritual successor, isn't it?
Yeah, and that was good. I did like Dropfleet Commander, but of course, I think part of the sort of appeal of Battlefleet Gothic is that it's set in the Warhammer 40,000 universe.
I think this is something that Dropfleet Commander obviously couldn't replicate, because
No.
I think that is why it was so popular, because it is a part of the 40k universe that we hadn't really got in that kind of detail before. Massive star cruisers and planet destroying weapons and all that fun stuff.
And I mean, don't get me wrong, Dropfleet Commander was a cracking game. It had some really cool rules, and I do enjoy it. But yeah, it's Battlefleet Gothic is what I really wanted to play.
Yeah.
And I mean, the Battlefleet Gothic rules as well, they're still great. I mean, it's not a super balanced game, and some factions struggle against other factions, but there's so much rules and campaign rules and different ways of playing it, and you can have some really good fun with Battlefleet Gothic still, if you can get the models.
Yeah, which is
that's the problem.
The problem. Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if they did bring it back.
Yeah,
at
I
some
mean,
point.
I don't. Yeah, and I don't know how much of a overhaul they would give it. I'm assuming they would give it a new lick of paint in terms of model support.
Yeah.
But rules wise, what would they do with the rules? I mean, I quite like Battlefleet Gothic, but I don't know. I mean, Adeptus Titanicus, it was sort of just like an improved version of what had come before, wasn't it? So
yeah, and I guess you've got the same with Necromunda as well, and Blood Bowl. They've kind of refined the game. So yeah, I think take off some of the rough edges. Some of the ordnance was a bit silly, wasn't it? And some of the stuff that didn't really work, and just give it a second revision. Because I'm sure Andy Chambers has said in a previous review, if there's things that he'd change if he did a second edition of Battlefleet Gothic.
Yeah, and I'd like to see as well, like Adeptus Titanicus. What I really like about Adeptus Titanicus is that you really feel like you're piloting one of these massive god machines. You've got that console in front of you with these little pegs and whatnot, adjusting all of your shields and your energy and plasma reactors. I'd love that for Battlefleet Gothic as well. I mean, obviously, Battlefleet Gothic, you tend to control a few more ships, but you have squadrons and things like that. I don't know. It would be cool if you did get some sort of dashboard or console like that to represent the bridge of your ship.
Yeah, like force the engines and stuff.
Yeah, because there was loads of special orders you could do, like all ahead full, burn retros, lock on, come to new heading.
Yeah.
Reload.
In the chat, Grace says, "Unto the Breach Paint Blitzer. Amazing stuff, and it can be used on resin. Just don't soak it as long as for plastic."
All right, cool.
Before.
I'll have to love that for the Revenant.
Mousebait's resisting the urge to buy a load of Battlefleet Orcs on eBay. Mousebait loves all those games. I've mostly played myself. Dropfleet Commander's one I almost got before our group died out. Space as a whole, another arena of battle. Yeah, I personally think they will do it at some point. Obviously, we don't know how games like Aeronautica and Adeptus Titanicus have sold. If they've sold well, then I think that'd give them the momentum to do other non-core games, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Right, so we've got the knob on Smasher Squig built. Just wait for that to dry. The join where the foot goes into the little mount that goes on the base, I think the pin might have bent when the plastic glue's weakened it. So I'm just making sure that kind of bonds properly before I put the guy on top. Plastic glue melts it and then it'll make a seal through it. If it is playing up, I might have to use a drop of super glue, but hopefully that should turn out okay. Grace here says, I've never played Gothic, but the original Space Fleet had some hilarious over-the-top Imperial ships, like the one with big claws and a drill. Yeah, and you know what? I think, obviously, we've seen a lot of callbacks to the original Adeptus Titanicus. We've seen a lot of callbacks to Rogue Trader. I think if Games Workshop did do a new Gothic, I think... Oh, we don't know anything here. This is just guesswork. But I think it'd be Battlefleet Solar, and it'd be set during the Horus Heresy, during the Solar War, because that way you can do an Imperial fleet and use it for the Loyalists and the Traitors, and then you sell resin flagships, the Vengeful Spirit, the Phalanx, and then like they've done with Adeptus Titanicus, with Aeronautica, you can then bring out other classes of ship as plastic kits over like the 2-year cycle or whatever it is. So I think that'd work pretty well.
The only thing with that, I think, is that when the Battlefleet Gothic set first launched, obviously the Imperial cruisers have a different aesthetic than the Chaos ones, because the Chaos ones were all from, like you say, the Siege and the Great Crusade, whereas the Imperial ones were 10,000 years, a bit different. So it'd be interesting to see which aesthetic they go for.
I imagine they'd go for the classic Imperial look for them.
Yeah.
Because the Chaos isn't spiky yet. I think it'd be the logic.
Yeah.
But you never know. I mean, we don't even know that they are definitely doing a Gothic game, but it'd surprise me if it isn't somewhere on a whiteboard at Games Workshop HQ.
Yeah.
So Immortan Joe says, would there be scope for a Crusade-style rule system for Battlefleet Gothic? Arguably, yeah. I mean, Adeptus Titanicus is a game about massive skyscraper-sized robots beating 7 shades out of each other, but you could still play it with a single engine or two. We've done that when learning to play.
Yeah.
And I think the same would work for Gothic as well. You could have little
yeah.
exploratory fleets that are just like scouting out and just, a handful of vessels.
Yeah.
Games Workshop are very good at making sure the games scale at all points now, because, having to jump straight in with a 2,000 point army is a big barrier to entry, especially if it's a brand new system. So if you can have a game that's playable, quote marks, out of the starter box with just a few ships, I'm sure they would.
Well, I believe it was 4 cruisers on each side in the original starter box.
Yeah. Oh man, that starter box. So I remember they put the kind of experimental rules in White Dwarf before the game came out. I remember writing a letter to Andy Chambers, and he sent me back a reply and a Battlefleet Gothic pin, which is still on my pinboard somewhere. And yeah, then I was all in on the game when it came out. They did a big bundle with some like exclusive ordnance and stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah, fell in love with it. So I would love to see it come back. This Squig's got a wonky head. This is fine though. So Mousepete says, it seems that Adeptus Titanicus has sold very, very well. Not sure about AI, but they're still bringing out stuff for it. Apparently, it must be. So the thing is, plastic kits have a 3-year lead time. So there is an element of gamble. It could be that stuff has been produced for a game and they put it out because they're already so far into development, maybe. Equally, there could be stuff that a lot of development's been done, but they're not expecting sales to be high, so they ditch it entirely. Case in point, the Bone Giant for the Tomb Kings at the tail end of Warhammer Fantasy, before Age of Sigmar came out. We know there's kits that were done and good to go, but they just didn't release for whatever reason. So it's very hard to know what's happening behind the scenes at Games Workshop.
Yeah, I think I remember seeing a review about some multi-part Dwarf Lord kit as well that we never saw.
So there was a multi-part Dwarf Lord kit that was produced, and there are actually sprues out in the wild. However, the mould broke. And these are big steel moulds that they pour the plastic into to create them. That cost, I can't give you a price because I don't know, but I'm going to say lots of money. So if this thing fractures due to, you've got a cold steel thing, you're pouring hot plastic into it, yes, sometimes there's hairline fractures in it and the whole thing just shatters. And then the decision is, do you've already sunk a load of money into this, do you produce another one, or do you actually cut your losses and say, actually no, it's no longer viable to produce this, we're spending another 100 grand to produce the mould, we're not going to make double the investment in plastic sales, so we'll just ditch it. And I think that's unfortunately what happened with that.
Right, okay.
So yeah, obviously I don't think it happens often, but it does happen. You wouldn't want to be the guy who, and it'd just be a flaw when the thing was manufactured. But you don't be the guy to tell the powers that be that actually the mold's broken, we can't use it.
Fancy a dwarf mold breaking.
I know,
To break is a dwarf one.
That is fitting, isn't it? So unfortunately that is why it was never released. But there are, obviously it obviously didn't break immediately, and there are plastic frames out there in the wild. Not many, I don't think, but there are. So yeah, that's a bit of a holy grail for dwarf collectors, I believe.
Yeah.
So Gracie says, what was the one that was just a massive gun based around a battleship? What was the one that was just a massive gun based around a battleship that could hit everything in the 9-box grid?
There was the Planet Killer, wasn't there? Which was what bad. Yeah, and then you had the Talismans of Vol as well.
The Blackstone Fortresses, yeah.
Yeah.
He might be talking about Space Crusade, which is the earlier game it was based on as well.
Okay.
Mousebait says, as long as there's no escort missions, forgot about the lead time, to be honest. A mold breaking is, yeah, I bet. I mean, stuff like that might happen now. We just don't learn about it.
Yeah.
It's especially at the minute. There's a lot of factors and things. Release schedule is probably quite different than was originally planned, but we wouldn't know any different, would we? Some things you can guess. Okay, that's shifted quite a bit. Like the Lumineth release was obviously, I think, planned to be released around the time of the pandemic, but then everything shut down because we saw all those previews and it was looking for like an Easter 2020 release, and it came out maybe August last year, and then quickly followed by a second book.
Yes.
So unfortunately, not everything can be accounted for, especially at the minute. I know where Japan, I think, are having a bit of a delay on releases, and that is probably down to getting stuff over there, isn't it? Because obviously it's all produced in the UK. US is a little bit different because I believe they've got a factory in the US where they produce sprues as well now.
All right, okay.
So yeah, it's funny how much disruption we cause for what at the end of the day is just plastic toys. They're saying there's a bit of a plastic shortage, aren't they? Going in the run up to Christmas.
It wouldn't surprise me.
Probably another Brexit benefit, Jay.
Yeah, that's it, isn't it? Yeah.
So who knows? If there's a plastic shortage, then I don't know. We might have some kind of Mad Max situation with people.
No toilet roll. Okay, that's pretty bad. No petrol. Okay, that's pretty bad. No plastic toys. What? I'm going to the streets.
Exactly. Yeah, that's it. So thankfully, I think we've both got a bit of a backlog, so we should be all right.
Yeah, that's it, isn't it? Get my Black Templars launch box. I'll be all right.
This is it. We'll go back into lockdown by then, Jay.
You know it.
Whenever you get excited about a new project, it never happens.
Nope.
We've got Nightmare Prinny saying for the Emperor, or for the 4-armed Emperor. Yeah, I might paint up some Genestealer Courts. So if there's another rumour about this Custodes versus Genestealer box, and I feel I need to have at least 1,000 points ready to face some Custodes. Yeah,
I'll have the Custodes ready. I was thinking about adding some units to the Custodes actually. There's some really cool forge-world Venatari, which are like the jump pack armed Custodians, and the Sagittarium, which are the bolter armed Custodians. And I was thinking I might get 3 of each of those just for a bit of variety in the army, because I've got pretty much everything else.
Yeah, I think that'd be fun
when we go to Warhammer World.
Yeah, I really hope we get these event tickets. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
What's the plan? Just drive up each day?
I think so. Yeah, I think it's my turn. I don't mind doing that.
Seems easy enough to do, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Here's where we don't get the tickets tomorrow now. In which case, we just have to have an impromptu trip to Warhammer World one weekend.
That's it. We'll just go and play around Crusade games there.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward actually to potential Genestealers and Adeptus Custodes book this year. I'm really interested to see what they do with the Custodians, because a lot's changed since the Custodians come out. Obviously, Orcs now are toughness 5. Marines have all got extra wounds and attacks. So I am quite interested to see what they do with the custodians. Will they keep them as a super elite army and maybe make them even tougher, or will they just say, well, no, we're not going to go any tougher than they currently are? But of course now a Primaris Marine is nearly on par with a custodian, so we'll make them into a more sort of not such an elite army, more not horde army, but you know what I mean, a few more bodies.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they reduce the number, but they might make each individual one better in combat. I don't know. What I'd like to see is Talons of the Emperor book rather than Custodes, and give the Sisters of Silence a bit of love, because obviously, I think there was plans for a big Sisters of Silence range, wasn't there? And evidently, they're probably not sold as well as the Custodians, from the fact that outside of the Transport and Janisha Kroll and the twin pistol variant, there's about 8 different profiles from the Forge World book that they've never released models for.
Yeah.
Which you can only think is down to the fact that they didn't sell very well, because otherwise, all the Custody stuff came out, a lot of the 30k Mechanica stuff came out, where the Sisters didn't get that love. Even down to a generic kind of HQ model and Elite Choice. So I'd really like to see them expanded for 40k. I just hope that they do it, because I've got a bad feeling that they just didn't sell very well and they've just silently ditched them. Which we silently ditched them. That's fitting. So, Immortan Joe says, did someone say Mad Max? Let's hope the Resin Wars doesn't become a thing. Mouseplate's planning to get to my Custodes army eventually. Excellent. Steve Harbour says a cardboard shortage is a big global issue at the minute, which is potentially why Curse City disappeared.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't completely buy all the conspiracy theories on that. I think it is just due to production costs of cardboard going crazy, getting things over from China at the moment. Mouseplate says the boy has enough gene steel equipped for a crusade force. Immortan Joe, wasn't there talk about Games Workshop releasing the Crusade rules pack for the event for us plebs to use, or am I mistaken? So they are releasing, I think on the day you get the Crusade pack, but I think they're doing it that way to keep it secret, so there's some surprises. Now, I'm sure any people going to the event would probably pass that online. I don't think Games Workshop said that they'd just release it for everybody to use, but I'd be very surprised if anyone was going wouldn't share that pack, because it sounds an interesting thing, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited. I really hope we get tickets for both these events, or even just one. Even just one.
Yeah, if I had to choose one, I mean, the Age of Sigmar team event, I am really looking forward to it, and I hope we get tickets for it. But the first Warhammer Crusade at Warhammer World, I'd really like to be part of that.
Yeah, especially since we've been such advocates of Crusade as well, haven't we? It's just a different way of playing, isn't it? I quite like that they've got this Crusade pack, and that they're going to be, doing some fun narrative stuff with it, rather than it just being focused on winning games. Which it's a good part of the game, but it's not the be all and end all when you come to Crusade. It's more about telling that story, isn't it?
Yeah, seeing what happens to your characters.
Yeah. Dave is back in the chat. Apologies, had to bolt out again. Back and painting. Excellent. Well, that
Hello, Dave.
Voidbringer needs to be painted tonight, Dave. It is. You've got what, half an hour to the end of the stream? I'm sure you can knock him out. I'm only on the second squig, if it makes you feel any better. Mostly because I've been talking to the chat. I love these models so much, though. It's to the point where I'm actually thinking I might have to look at the list and see if I can get any more squigs in. I was also thinking as well, Jay, Storm Boys, but with Boingrot Bounders or something.
Boingrot Bounders. Okay. Let's have a think. So the Boingrot Bounders are quite big, actually, so I think you could get away with it.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I think that could be quite cool.
Just something I feel like I feel any more variety of squigs.
Yeah, I quite like the sound of that. The Stone Boys are nice models though. They're not too bad. I quite like the Stone Boys themselves. Could you
Yeah,
squigify them in any way?
I think they'd need to be riding some kind of squig to be squigified. Another option was, the spitter squig, I forget what it's called, out of Age of Sigmar, using
Yeah,
that with a crew of Gretchen as one of the grot cannons.
yeah, that would be cool.
So, and obviously the other option, of course, is get a squiggoth.
Oh, what? Yes, definitely. Do they still make them?
They do, yeah, they do. I was looking just the other night on Forge World. So a squiggoth is also an option. Maybe not immediately
Yes.
for this one, but I do feel my beast snaggers need one.
Yeah, it depends how far you're going to take your Beast Snaggers army. So, like, every now and then you get an army that you just keep adding and adding to. So your demons, for example, my Ultramarines.
Yeah.
So and then you get armies that you sort of just paint up the bare minimum, and then you keep them as like a small contained force, like my Harlequins, for example. But yeah, if you were going to go serious for the Snagger Boys, you could, and like you say, start converting all the different unit types with squigs. Then definitely get a squigger for sure.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I mean, I've got over 2,000. We've got 2,500 points of orcs plus this stuff here. So by the time I finish just that, I'll have 4,000 points of orcs, and I've probably got about another 1,000 points unbuilt. So I have got a lot of orcs. So I do feel I need to get a squiggoth at some point. I did have a stomper that I got rid of a while ago. The paint job wasn't the greatest, and it was a bit badly built. I think I would like to go back and like do a stomper properly at some point as well and take my time on it.
Yeah.
I really like the Forge World variant with the belly gun and the.
It's the mech one, isn't it?
Yeah, that'd be a cool thing to add. These are all like long-term projects. Nothing like I'm gonna do super quick, but I think it'd be nice to add to the orcs. I'm gonna need the flyers. I'd like to get some of the flyers as well.
I love the is it the what's the twin copter one? What's it called?
The Chinook.
The Chinook. Yeah, the Chinook. That's it.
Yeah, I don't think they make that anymore, sadly.
Do they not? No, that's a shame.
Because that was ridiculous and cool all at once.
Yeah.
So Grace says it was the Dominator class battleship. There we go. Mousepet says that'd work. I did my bounders with wings, so they count as death copters in my wee free men army. Amazing. Mousepet says once you go hawk, you never stop. And Dave says the Stomper is mint. Yeah, it's a cool model. The thing with the super heavies is, I guess, being able to use them in a normal game. Like I've got a shadow sword that I can get away with using in my Deathcore Krieg army, but my Warhound and my Reaver, realistically, outside of big apocalypse games, it's not something you can use like in a normal game, is it?
No.
And I do fit the Stompers come down a lot of points, and you could probably fit it in a 2,000 point list now. So that's probably in a better position than some stuff.
We could do a Stomper versus Tau Supremacy suit.
We could do. Yeah, the Supremacy suit's cool as well. But yeah, that is the thing with these super heavies. I think they're more pieces to paint up, aren't they, and display rather than actually using games. Unless you're lucky enough to have, the big bridge board from Warhammer World and have a big 4,000 point game over that, then you're probably going to get some use out of them. I mean, there's the Titan Club. I've been tempted to go. They do some events where they play Adeptus Titanicus using 40k scale models and have massive terminals like that with pins and stuff in.
That's cool.
They did one recently. It was in Birmingham maybe, and there was hundreds of Titans on the entire floor of this conference room. It looked so cool. Yeah, I'd be all over that. Right, I need a head. Number 12.
I need some. Is it Fenrisian Grey?
Fenrisian Grey. You still highlighting up black?
I am. This is just a tester model to see how far I can take the highlights without spending too long on them. So this is going to be the last like point highlight. And then I'm going to try putting some of that Pterodon turquoise on it, and just see what I think, see if I like it, see if that's going to be enjoyable to paint. Because I don't think there's going to be that many models to paint.
No, I think you're going to be quite elite as far as Space Marines go, aren't you?
Yeah.
That's cool. So, the more Mousebait says the Stomper is awesome. Terrible build. Poke me if you need any annotated instructions. The Squiggoth is amazing. Yeah, I think I rushed my Stomper when I first built it, but I think it is a bit funky to put together. I've never even used my Gorkanaut, to be honest, but Stomper is still meh in game. Dave wants to grab Monolith at some point. Grace here says, key question, has anyone bought one of the Nurgling plushies yet? No, I haven't. I would quite like a Nurgling plushie.
If they did a Custodian plushie, I'd grab that, but
Custodian
I'm not
plushie. Yeah, I might have to get a Nurgling at some point, but it's not been top of my shopping list, unfortunately. Immortan Joe, I've never seen your Supremacy suit, Jay, in a game at least. No, I don't believe. We have played a game with it, but I don't think we filmed it.
No, it was one game with it a long time ago. There are rumours of Tau getting a bit of love next year as well. So if that's the case, we may have to do a big game with a new codex and a Supremacy suit. I've got a massive Tau army upstairs, and actually it might be good to put them against the Orcs in a big battle. You've got 4,000 points of Orcs.
That sounds a good plan, Jay. We do a big Orcs versus Tau on a big 7-foot board. Yeah.
Give it a good run out.
Yeah, I think that's good. Is that something people would like to see on the in the chat? A massive Xenos off. We'd probably do it live, wouldn't we, as well?
Yeah.
And we'd get the chat involved for some random element as well, because.
Yeah, and we'd have to get Dave and Andy. Dave can help me control the Tau. Andy can help you control the Orcs.
That's it, yeah. We might need somebody to man the cameras and stuff with that many models on the go.
Yeah.
And control the chat. Yeah, that'd be fun. I think we should do that.
Because if you've got 4,000 points of Orcs, I've easily got 4,000 points of Tau.
Yeah, that'd be really cool. And we've got lots of that'd be a nice Orc army made up of different sub-factions. So some speed freaks, some goths, some snakebite beast snaggers against Viola. Yeah, you know what? I can see the narrative already. Ghazghkull's brought together these various warring Orc tribes to fight off the Tau, who have rudely encroached on their space.
Well, I believe the Viola have history with the Orcs as well. So
so this is writing itself, Jay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should do that then. I'm down for that. So Grace says, I think my nephew might need one. Mousebite says, floor hammer done right. Is that the Titan battle? Yeah, absolutely. Mousebite, I already spent my paycheck, or would have. They're only $20. Yeah, they're not too bad, and they're doing a Gryph-hound as well. I quite like the look of the Gryph-hound. I'm surprised they haven't done something like this a long time ago. I know there's a lot of people in the Warhammer TV chat for years screaming out for Nurgling plushies, Gryph-hound plushies, so it's pretty ace that it's finally happened. FG Logan says 2v2. Yeah, that could work. It's whether David Sully his hands controlling some Tau. Though Dave does have some Tau.
Dave could bring Farsight, couldn't he?
Farsight and his boys. Andy could bring his Goths to join the War. Yeah, that'd be cool. I feel we definitely need to do this. Mousebait says, a true War. It is.
We've got a Ghazghkull.
We've got a Ghazghkull. We've got a Cave Troll. Yeah, this needs to happen. Your Supremacy suit's certainly going to have a lot of targets anyway with all these millions of Orcs.
Yeah. It's a good job he's got like 1 million weapons on it.
Yeah. Though Beast Snaggers, I mean, it's probably over strength 8, isn't it? Beast Snaggers only get wounded. Anything that's less than strength 8 always fails to wound on a 1 to 3, which is ace. Because they're tougher than the average orc.
Tougher than a custodian guard.
Yeah. So, we've nearly finished this guy. So, we've got a shoulder pad, number 17. If I can find it on the kit. 17 is there. I would say all these orc kits, the sprues are definitely more chaotic than their imperial counterparts. The orc commandos, for example, it took me about a week to find the parts for it because they're all over the shop, which again is fitting for the orcs, isn't it? Huh. Andy Wood says, did someone say "War"? And FG Logan says, paint the galaxy green. So I'll take that as people want to see orcs on the stream, Jay.
Yeah.
We had planned on doing an orcs live battle. Unfortunately, with us at the tournament last weekend, we've not been able to stream, and unfortunately, no one was free to do a stream yesterday. Hopefully, this coming Saturday we'll be able to do something. Sure.
Yeah, well, we can catch up, can't we? We could perhaps do the orcs this Saturday, as we missed them last weekend. There's no battle tome or anything out, is there, next week?
No, so that's good. That's a good. Well, we've got the Black Templars for pre-order, so you'll need a couple of weeks to get them together, won't you? And then we can do a battle for them. Yeah, we'll look at that. We'll look at doing an orc battle next Saturday, maybe.
Because I think we've got a few things we can fight against them, haven't we?
Yeah, definitely. Greasy says the Tottenham Court Road store had a massive nurgling recently and now has a larger than full-size Griffhound on display. Larger than full-size Griffhound. That is amazing. Because, you know, Griffhounds don't deserve to be life-size. They deserve to be bigger than that. Can't go wrong with a Griffhound.
What's on Warhammer TV this week?
What is on Warhammer? You know what? I do not know. I'm going to look on my data pad and tell you. I believe we've got a new episode of Hammer and Bolter.
Okay.
Let's have a look on Warhammer Community to see what we've got this week. So, interestingly as well. So obviously we've got the Black Templar box up for pre-order. They are also doing 2 made-to-order Blood Bowl teams, classic ones. There is the Amazons and there's the Tomb Kings.
Oh, right, cool.
So yeah, if you want some classic Tomb Kings, I mean, I've never been super keen on the old kind of made-to-order Blood Bowl stuff, just because it isn't as pretty as the new plastic kits. And let's face it, we're probably going to get plastic versions of these at some point. So I'll resist those myself. Mortis is also out in paperback. That's good to know. On Warhammer TV this week, we have got a battle report. Stormcast Eternals versus Beastclaw Raiders. Looking forward to seeing that one. That should be fun. And a Citadel Masterclass on painting gems. That's pretty cool. I think you've got your gem painting down to an art, though, haven't you, Jay?
I've been painting Eldor a long time, yeah.
But yeah, there's a masterclass on that. There is a Hammer and Bolter episode called Fangs. I believe that's a Space Wolf one, so that'll be fun. Still no Hammer, lots of Bolter. Just saying. And then in the vault there is the Realm Gate Wars Balance of Power. So we're getting through the Realm Gate War series. And then September, October, November and December 2018 for White Dwarf. I got to say, I'm pretty impressed at the rate they've put out the White Dwarfs. I think they've now got the entirety of 2019, 2020. We might even have some 2021 episodes in there as well. And now they're doing the latter half of December. And I wonder, it's either December 18 or Jan 19 where my Great Unclean one's in White Dwarfs. That'll be immortalised forever in the vault. So I'll have to find that episode. Gracie is beating me in the chat. New Hammer and Bolter, AOS Battle Report and Painting Gems. Thanks, Gracie. I should have just looked in here rather than looking it up in the on the website. So I'll link that because that was a super proud achievement to get a model in White Dwarf. And I have to say the White Dwarf guys were really helpful for like giving advice on. We were talking earlier on how to take pictures. That was one of their suggestions. Just use a bit of paper, lent against something, so you've got no sharp corners or things that cast shadows, so you can get a nice background for your image. Obviously in here, behind the other side of that, I've got the big studio lights we use for doing battle reports. If I've got time to do a proper setup, I'll get the proper SLR out on a tripod and get the lighting up and get a proper background. Problem is, you don't want to dig all that out for just taking a picture for Twitter, do you? So I normally just do it here on the desk. So yeah, normally if there's something that I've painted up, like the kill rig, I'll only get all that set up when I'm doing the glamour shots at the end. But you can definitely take decent pictures on just a smartphone.
Oh yeah, I take all my pictures on the smartphone.
You know, you don't need any like specialist equipment really. Right, he is snapped on there. So now we just have to put on the chains, which I've cut and lost.
And I'm just doing the Pterodon turquoise glaze now.
Pterodon turquoise glaze. So this is the magical part that kind of ties it all together, isn't it?
It is, because at the moment he's looking a bit. I don't know if you can see Matt on this shot there. He's looking a bit Tron.
He's looking a bit Tron. I mean, that's pretty cool, personally.
Yeah, but that's not the effect I'm going for. I don't want him to look a bit Tron.
I'm a bit upset. I quite like the concept of Tron Marines.
But I can't remember what Louise Sufton's recipe was for the Pterodon turquoise. I don't know whether it was 3-1 or 2-1. So I'm just going to quickly have a look on.
Are you gonna gamble and just randomly pick?
No, I'm not going to gamble. Well, there's a glazing that's on it. I'm going to have a look on the Warhammer TV now.
On Warhammer TV.
And quickly check.
Incidentally, how are you finding Warhammer TV? We haven't really spoken since like the first few weeks.
I like Warhammer TV. I'm enjoying the content more than I thought I would enjoy. If I'm honest, I've not watched many of the battle reports, and I was a bit about this as well, because the battle reports we've seen so far, there's nothing that really stand out about them, and you know, we can watch battle reports all over the internet. I was hoping we'd see some like iconic, like the Battle for Armageddon, or you know, the Siege of Terror, or you know, these really cool narrative events that we've read about, and then we can see them replaying them on the tabletop. So I think if they get around to that sort of battle report, I'll be really cool to watch them. But I've loved the Angels of Death, and I've loved the masterclasses. I've not watched any of the Lore Masters yet. Have you seen any of the Lore Masters?
Yeah, Lore Masters is good. Lore Masters is a great thing to put on while painting. They've done Abaddon, Teclis, Gazgul, I think, so far. Okay. Wade, it's really nice to just listen to Wade talking Warhammer while you're kind of doing some painting or building. They're really good. I really like the hammer and bolter stuff. I want some hammer though to go with my bolter.
Yeah.
And yeah, Angels of Death was ace. Yeah, it's been really good, and considering it's what, £50 a year, and you get a free miniature with that, and a £10 voucher, and some other bonuses that we don't know yet, I think that's a pretty good deal. So in the chat we've got some thoughts on Warhammer Plus. Mousebait quite likes the battle reports. FG Logan says it needs more cartoons. To be fair, I think that's the main criticism, and I think if they hadn't have had all these additional benefits, I don't think the reviews would have been as glowing, because the animation side is a little bit light at the minute. It is still young though, but you know. Gracie says it's a little light and very 40k heavy, but it's so cheap that I don't mind. The Vault is very good. Yeah, and the Vault is a really good part of that as well. Like the Realm Gate Wars I never picked up originally, but it's been nice to be able to read through that lore within the Vault. Andy Wood says Warhammer TV is getting better, but I'm liking it more now that my standards have come down a bit. It's well worth the money, but it's not a streaming service like Netflix. Yeah, I think we were all very worried that it would just be about the animations and stuff, and it was going to set up itself to disappoint by doing that. The fact that we've got the Vault in there, the other benefits, the painting videos, the battle reports, it does make it its own thing. It's not a Netflix. It's more of a I don't know, one-stop shop for hobby stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, and you're going to get the Age of Sigmar app and the 40k app as well included in there. So
Yeah,
like
of
you say, it's not
course.
just
Yeah, I've forgotten about that. Yeah, which I was paying for anyway,
yeah, exactly, yeah. So
and now it's part of the subscription. Mousebait says, I did love the masterclass as well. Even I appreciate the White Dwarfs, even though I have them all, and Visions, which I miss. I quite liked Visions. It was a strange
I
product, wasn't it? Because
yeah, I wasn't a big fan of Visions myself.
it was pictures of miniatures that you could get online, but I quite liked being able to flick through and see. I don't know, see the studio schemes in like big glossy kind of centerpiece things, but
Yeah,
nowadays you can just get that on literally the heavy metal pictures are on the web store, aren't they? And the product images with
yeah,
360s that you can look around.
exactly. And I missed the traditional White Dwarf content. And I know you got the White Dwarf magazine alongside it, didn't you? But it was a very slimmed down White Dwarf, and more
Yeah,
of just a sales brochure, really.
yeah. Where I liked Visions, White Dwarf Weekly, whatever they called it. Yeah, it was that was very light content. I was so glad
Yeah,
when they went back to a traditional White Dwarf,
yeah.
which has been really, the last few episodes have been outstanding. They've been on top form. I don't know what your thoughts of recent White Dwarfs are.
White Dwarfs are fantastic now. I mean, look at all the rules you got. You got the Seraphon and Battletome thing in the recent one, and your Wolf Spear rules.
Yeah, well that's it. I mean, if you just talk just Age of Sigmar, we have had over the last couple of months, Slaves to Darkness, Sons of Behemat, and coming Seraphon kind of
Yeah,
updates.
which is ace because it's Path to Glory content, new core battalions for them. I mean, you don't even need to wait for a Battletome anymore. That's perfect. That is to me.
It
So,
also sounds those books
see...
probably aren't the soonest, but again, it gets them updated, doesn't it? And equally, we've had some codex supplements, like you said, the Wolf Spear, the Law Keepers, stuff that they wouldn't be able to put out as a supplement, but as 3 or 4 pages in a White Dwarf's great. And for both of those, we even got official transfers.
Yeah.
Which is crazy good. So yeah, White Dwarf's been ace recently. Cannot complain. Mousebait says, "Oh, I loved Visions so much. Just reference and to flick through when you've time. Online isn't the same, to be honest. Yeah, I quite liked it as like a coffee table kind of book. White Dwarf was meta at that time. Yeah, I barely read it now. I get it for the pictures. Yeah, it is strange, isn't it? Because we're in a time where a lot of that content is easily accessible online. But I do think White Dwarf is still a good magazine. I think it's the strongest it's been for a long time.
Definitely.
Alright, I've nearly finished my second squig. I've not got through as many squigs as I thought I would do tonight, but it's been fun talking to everybody in the chat. And these are fun models, so you don't want to rush them. What time are we on? It is 22 minutes past 9, so we'll be winding up at 1:30. Just enough time to see what everyone has managed to do in the chat. Have you managed to do much hobby tonight while you've been watching? Have we got anything painted, anything built? Dave, if you are still out there, how are you doing on your Voidbringer? Is that what he's called? Voidbringer? Lightbringer? Void Dragon. No, I combined two Catan there together, didn't I?
I didn't think it sounded right when you said it before. But I couldn't quite put my finger on what was right about it.
Yeah, had a bit of both there. Oh, he's cool. So, let's let him dry a second. We'll get this fella out. So, let me just switch to my cam briefly. So, I have managed to build the squig of the Smasher Squig, and the knob is modular, so I can pop him on top. He should just click into there. Should do. If his leg wasn't bust. There we go. And that means I can then remove that when I'm painting it to make things a little bit easy. So that goes there. And then I've also built this squig as well. And again, the rider is removable. I'll probably airbrush the squig up and then hand paint the rider, just to make things a lot easier. Jay, if I switch to your camera, again, apologies, it's centered a bit closer to the edge of the table.
Is that all right?
Down a bit.
Like up here?
No, like down towards the south.
Like here?
Can you see on your screen yet? It might.
Not yet. No. Let me have a look. Oh, okay. Right. Let's have a look.
There you go. Perfect.
There we go. So the shoulder pads, obviously the black stands out a bit different now from the like blue tinted black armor that I've been painting, because the shoulder pads are going to be white, and I think I need to double check this when I get the codex, but I believe assault squads for Black Templars have red shoulder trim, so the trim's going to be red. I'm not sure if the Pterodon turquoise glaze has gone on a bit too Pterodon turquoise, so I'm going to see when it dries. I might have to go back over some of those highlights to. Well, I'm not sure yet. Sometimes you just have to let the contrast dry, don't you, to get see the end effect. But
yeah,
that's why I'm doing a tester model. Obviously, I didn't take it all the way up, so I believe Louise Sugden went one highlight extra with Ulfwyn Grey before she put the Pterodon turquoise on, and it may be that actually I do need to do that step to stop it looking blue.
Maybe.
But we'll see. So once it's dried, I'll put a picture on the WhatsApp group, and we can decide whether it needs that Ulfwyn Grey highlight or not. But like you say, I mean, it took me pretty much the full 2 hours there to highlight this guy up, and I've got 10 Marines here, so there's 20 hours worth of highlighting there potentially. But I mean, there's not that many Space Marines in a Space Marine army, especially at 1,250,000 point. Yeah, that's right, isn't it? 1,250. So maybe it's something I can just do over the next couple of weeks. I haven't got any other projects really to work on that I'm desperate to get done, so maybe just take my time with it. So we'll see.
Cool, awesome, looks good. Yeah, we need to get some games on as well then, Jay.
We do.
Guys a test run. So what has everyone been doing? So Dave has started with the base. Fair enough. FG Logan says, stop buying White Dwarf and started buying more hobby products with the money. Yeah, fair enough. Especially if they're all going to be on the Vault now as well. Andy Woods finished building my Mortec crawler into sub-assemblies. Amazing. Can't wait to see that, Andy. Gracie, I was cooking for most of the evening, now back on Storm Vermin. Amazing. Mousepit says, nice, very cool. Such a cool looking model. Black is so hard. Black is a tricky one. I don't like painting black.
It is hard, yeah. Why did I pick Black Templars?
Yeah, I was going to say, white's a pain to paint, but on, where is he gone? On this fella, if we get him down there, the white is pretty much just Corax white. It took a couple of coats and I thinned it with Water Plus from Instar, because Corax white can be a bit gloopy when it comes out the pot. And yeah, Instar Water Plus just makes it beautiful to paint with. I had a wet palette as well just to make it stay moist for longer. And then I did a kind of like recess wash of 50% thinned Agrax Earthshade, painted that into all the crevices, recesses, kind of the cuts and tears in it, and then sponged Rhinox hide, and then sponged lead belcher, and that's it, done, dead easy white. And I'm thinking I might do the same for my white scars for 30k.
Yeah, Corax white with Agrax Earthshade into the recesses is very, very cool.
Yeah, because when I did my first couple, I was building it up from brown and basically laying over it, but I think actually getting that white down and then doing the recesses and stuff is so much quicker. So that might be the way that I go. So yeah, I think I'll probably call it there tonight for the build, and then tomorrow before the podcast get the rest of these squigs built, and then for the rest of the week the plan is start painting this stuff. Like, look at this, Jay. It's a massive angry squig with a shotgun strapped to the side. It's a squig with engines. It's just a beautiful thing.
Such a cool range.
It really is. So yeah, he's going to get painted. The plan is to get as many of the characters done this week, and then next week work on squigs. Week after work on the boys, and then that gives me another week to just finish anything else that I haven't done. Laughing Forest just shouted up on Twitch. Any thoughts on the kill rig power level? Think it's at risk of getting FAQ nerfed in the future? Yeah, probably. I think we haven't had an Orc FAQ yet. I think a few things will get a few passes maybe. Lost in the Mortal Realms have been building a Necron kill team as well, so that's really cool. FG Logan says bone is something that they struggle with. Bone, I mean, I use the classic Xandri Dust, Agrax, dry brush up through the bone colours, Ushabti, Screaming Skull. Yeah,
Yep.
and maybe a Carrick Stone to finish it off.
Watch Duncan did a tutorial for painting Durfu, and Durfu's got a load of skulls on like embedded in his trunk and in his vines and things. And he did a Duncan spent a really cool. This was an old Warhammer painting video, and it was like you say, Xandri, Agrax Earthshade, Ishapti, and Screaming Skull. But he shows you where to place the different colours. And ever since watching that tutorial, that's how I paint all my skeletons and bones now, following what I learned from that tutorial. So I can't recommend that one enough if you're struggling with bone.
Yeah, he did something very similar on the Gazgul video as well, with like where to put them, and then also he's got tusks that are kind of like aged towards the edge, so he's just building up those gradual glazes to get that darker colour and get that gradient on the kind of tusks and horns and stuff. And the same applies to some of the bone stuff. So yeah, really, really good. So unfortunately, I think that is us for tonight. It is Monday tomorrow, so unfortunately, I need to go to work. We will be recording the podcast tomorrow night, though. Zub, yeah. We'll be recording the podcast tomorrow night. That should go out on Tuesday. And we'll try and get a live battle next Saturday if we can. I think that'd be a bit of fun. And we should be streaming here, same time, same place next week. So hope you have enjoyed this show, guys. If you don't already, why not give us a follow on Twitch or subscribe over on YouTube for some more hobby content. We have been the Sprues and Brews team. I'm Matt. That is Jay. And we hope to see you next time. So have a good rest of your weekend, and we'll see you next time. See you later, guys. Bye.
Bye.